Okay, it is 5:15, Thursday, August 15th, and this is the regular Marketing and Communications Committee meeting at the City Hall Council Chambers. And since we have a few new faces here at the table, I think we will just take the opportunity to introduce everyone. First of all, Rebecca Rakowski is our new board member. She's been appointed by the mayor to take Nathan Meyer's place on our committee. She is the 8th District Alderman.
Hi. Thank you.
Okay, and Bob Lass is
Lass.
the 5th District Alderman. Me, I'm here. LaDonna Furmanek, and I'll let the rest of you introduce yourselves.
I'm Emily Lee. I'm the new finance director.
I'm Hallie Saval. I'm the social media specialist.
I'm Sarah Sturm. I'm the marketing director for the Merrill Chamber.
Scott Steele, citizen volunteer.
Rod Akey, city administrator.
And we'll introduce Sarah Guild. Is that your name also?
Yes.
Okay, Sarah Guild is with the Lincoln County Economic Development Committee, and so she's just sitting in to observe on the meeting too, and cameos with Midwest Communications. So I think that covers everybody who's here. Dustin, IT in the back, yes, and Nathan, our cameraman, and Lori, our city clerk. Welcome, everybody. Okay, first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the July 18th meeting.
Motion to approve.
Okay, and I will second that motion. The motion's been made and seconded. Any questions on it? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Okay. Motion carries. General agenda items. There's a lot here to try and go through, so we'll try and keep it moving as efficiently as possible, but it is kind of some detailed stuff, and so we'll just kind of try and make things go as quickly as we can and still be understandable. So, Emily, if you want to start with the revenue and expense report, that would be helpful.
Sure, and I apologize for just getting these out to you now, but you've got the July statement in front of you. To give you a minute to take a look at it. Are there any questions?
What's VSP?
Video service provider.
I do have a question. The very first supplies and expenses. Maps Merrill Productions, $20,000 to date.
Yep. That's for videoing of all of the committee meetings.
Oh, all righty. Now I understand.
And can I just elaborate on this? When marketing sets their budget, we are only setting for a portion of these expenses that are listed in these line items. Some of these other items are set by, actually, we're not even 100% sure where they're set by the MAPS. School board sets that particular line. Some of the other ones come from IT, I believe. Rod, you want to elaborate? Or?
Well, it's all passed in the budget in the year previous, so that's where the expenses are requested, and those are where we deal with them, so.
Yeah, so the ones that strictly apply to the marketing committee start about, let's see, down at 5530503475533. The M&C committee resources, I think those down are the ones that kind of fall under our function as a marketing committee as far as what we've been budgeting for and taking into account. Is that correct, Emily?
Correct.
I have a question. On the website hosting, what services exactly does that involve? Because I know hosting itself is generally not that expensive, and I was wondering if there were other services that were being provided.
I'm trying to think. We definitely have some more sophisticated technology because of our minutes and agenda software that we're using. We have some hosting of the video and the audio, so that's not just the website itself. It's sort of
Okay.
running those features.
So there's other features in
Yes.
it. Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Dustin, did you want to add to that at all, or?
What line?
The
City website hosting.
That's GovOffice.
Yeah, so we go through GovOffice as our host, They've been our website provider for a long time. We actually have DNS hosting through them as well, and various other, they kind of manage that, so as a service, we don't handle that internally. So it's not solely just the website, but they also build the website. It's like a CMS that we just add info to, so we don't manage the creation or the raw foundation of the website.
Okay, thanks, I just wondered.
Yep.
And I think when I was learning about this fund and what goes in here, the philosophy seemed to be anything that was for spreading information. So the website, the meetings, making them public, those sorts of expenses came out of this communications fund.
Okay. All right, and then the back page, that is the money that was pulled out and designated now strictly for the Food Truckapalooza Fund, as far as the sourcing for that. So, are there any other questions on these reports right now? As you can see, the only sources of income into this are these licensing and permits and the state aid type things. So we've had that in reserve for some time because we haven't had a marketing committee and we haven't been spending it. But now that we do, it's going down fast, and it's going down faster than we're bringing offsetting revenue in. So that's why we have to be looking at this and going forward, knowing that, you know, we're going to have to be mindful of what we spend and how we spend it in order to make this fund last long enough to do what we hope to do, or to be able to generate it from elsewhere. So, all right.
Both of those are non-lapsing accounts, so just make note that year to year it carries over, even with the one on the back as far as the festival grounds. They're non-lapsing.
Okay, so does that mean that the amount that's in them is represented on here, or is there?
So for the food truck on the back page, this is the first year, so that bottom number represents the fund balance that will start next year. For the front page, if you want to see the beginning balance, or you'll have to look at the other handout that I gave. That's on this one.
Okay.
The top row says beginning balance. So in 2024, the beginning balance was $185,000, and we project that at the end of the year, it'll be down to $117,000.
Where am I missing the 117,000?
So the only way money goes into this is the
Okay.
state VSP aid and the
Okay.
cable franchise money?
Correct.
Okay. And the state VSP aid, is that what you were telling him, that it's the stuff under the ground?
That's the cable franchise fee,
What's this?
the state aids.
Yeah.
That comes from the state, and then the cable franchise fee actually comes from the companies themselves. So cable, Charter sends us a quarterly check.
Why does the state give us money?
That aid has historically been, I don't want to misspeak here. It's not new. Let me look at that for
Okay,
you.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
So how long, I mean, do we expect the cable franchise fee to go down every year? Like, we'll keep having less and less money?
I expect that it will decrease slowly just because people are using more like streaming services and not using as much cable. That's me looking to a crystal ball. Do I know that for sure? No. But I think in general, that's kind of the trend. I don't think it'll fall off quickly, but I do expect it to be flat or to decrease over time.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, does that take care of everything we need to discuss about the expense and revenues for now? Any other questions? Okay, then we will move on to a very short discussion about the photo library sharing. Any updates, Hallie, that you want to share as far as
Wilson's
input?
working on the drive right now, and he will let us know when that's ready. We did start an email that is photos.ci.merrill.wi.us, so that will be on the forms that we hand out. I will edit those and get them to you, and then they can drop them on the forms and their photos into that email address, and we will filter them and get them into that drive.
Okay. Dustin, do you want to add something?
I was just gonna say the drive is more or less ready to go. I just think before we use it, we need to figure out a file structure on how you want to store it, so it's consistent from the start. So,
Okay.
and then who, gets access, full access to that. 'Cause
Okay.
getting edit and delete permissions is probably something we don't want to just hand out too
No.
much, but.
Well, I believe the main was the chamber and the city for now. I don't know if
Correct.
we've looked any further than that, but
Yeah.
I guess I'll let you guys figure out how best you want to organize it.
Yep.
That makes the most sense. Which kind of leads to, the importance as far as collaborating on all these things. It's good to collaborate. It's good to keep everybody in the loop on what we're doing on these things so that we're all up to speed on it. All right. The next item is the standing banner design. Did we make any headway on that? Do we have anything to?
I did a price check on Vistaprint, who my wife and I have used several times, and I've used. And you can get a 33 by 81 with a pop-up on the metal stand, silver aluminum. It's a vinyl, so it's all weather. $170 plus tax and free delivery, and that's an online place. So that's a little less than what was coming in before on some of these things.
Okay.
It's not local, so it's one of those things is, do we, save the $50 or do we spend the money locally? I don't know that, but I do know this is less than we were paying before.
How much did you say it was last month? The ones that you have? I thought you said 350.
No, they're
Or
not
300.
quite that expensive. It was
Okay.
around 300-ish maybe,
300.
but I can't remember exactly. I've had them for half a year now. So. But I don't necessarily love the quality of how they have been, so, yeah.
Sure.
Do we have a design finalized or? No, okay. Okay, well, let's get a final design and maybe we just try the Vistaprint to see and compare the qualities if we're just gonna order one and see how that, I don't know. Anybody have any thoughts on that or?
I agree. Let's try them.
Are we good? Can we make that a motion?
Sure, I make a
to
motion that
order-
we,
I'll
Yeah.
second that.
Order one
Okay.
Vistaprint sign with retractable, whatever you call it,
All right,
not to exceed 150 plus tax.
No,
180.
it's 170 plus tax.
Oh, 170 plus tax.
Yeah.
okay. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we will do that. I'm assuming we'll have a design that we want to go ahead and go with, but,
I'll coordinate with Ally on that.
Yep.
okay, that sounds good. All right. Okay, visitors guide ads for 2025. Hallie, you have
Yep.
some updates on those?
So last year we had the 3 sheets. I only passed out one, so don't feel like you're missing them. But with the sheet, we changed the photo of the graduation. Instead of having 2 faces, we changed it to being the class, which I like because it shows that it's a smaller school. It's a smaller group. It looks pixelated on here. Scott's gonna rework it and get it on, or get it
Yeah, with a high res.
with the higher res.
Nathan gave me
yes.
the high res image, so I can work with that.
So that should help make it look clear. So if that looks okay to you guys, we'll get that fixed. And then I'll send it to Teresa at Chamber to get for the ads out by the end of the month. I didn't think changing the other ones, we can, but I thought that these ones looked nice. They're new from last year. And that graduation picture was the only one that we hadn't changed yet.
Okay, and we had approved the 3 pages at one of our previous meetings, so we should be good to go ahead with that.
Would this be the only one going in the visitor's guide, or are we going to have multiple?
We'll have 3.
Oh, well, okay, the total of 3.
Yep. I don't have them. I
Oh.
didn't hand them out.
Okay,
So these are the other ones that we had that are in there from last year.
okay.
Yeah, and I
Did we
think,
highlight the fire department on any of them? No?
We did not know.
Boo. Okay.
I think we had good exposure for for the city of Merrill through these by, the chamber, you had 13,000 you took out, and you're doing 20,000 this year as far as, and so I think that was good, and the various trade shows they took them to down in Iowa and Green Bay and.
Yeah, we went to Madison, Iowa, La Crosse, and Green Bay. This coming year, we're going to be going to Duluth as well. And then we also went to the State Fair last year. We went this year as well. So.
Okay, so that's where some of that marketing goes out to then in those guides.
Can I put a little historical perspective on that and clarify anything I say incorrectly here? They used to print like 5,000, right? And you had them left over. People are taking these. They're very
We're down
popular.
to like less than 1,000 already, and we still have, how many months left of the year? So we're getting these out now.
Yeah, they're getting
We're
it
not
out,
just
getting them.
keeping them in the storage unit.
Merrill name is getting out there, and we're seeing it an increase in revenue and tourism and things like that. So it's a good thing.
We've had some great articles written, and we just talked with one of the businesses who wrote an article about fishing and said we've had people coming in just because, and they've told us that they're here because they read the articles and things like that. So
That's awesome.
Good. And with Discover Wisconsin having been here for that concert, who knows where.
and they're coming this week as well. This
Okay,
weekend.
okay, so that will give us some additional exposure too, that we can, that's good.
Do you need a motion to approve the ads, or?
And I think we took care of that at the last
Okay.
meeting as far as approving them, so we should be good to that, get them in. Let's see, discuss and consider an additional landing page on the city website. And I'll let Scott elaborate on this, but the driving factor behind this is we have Midwest Communications marketing and putting out all these digital displays, and when people interact with those, it takes them to our city website. But once they get to the city website, it's kind of like a hunt and peck of where do we go from here? What do I want to look at here? What can I, and so the thought was to create a page where they could land that would take them to the things we're trying to market, which is jobs and schools and housing. So if you want to expound on that, Scott?
Yeah, there's a couple things to drive this. Number one is we needed to put links in there for the jobs and the housing and the schools that we didn't have to maintain, that were not extra work on everybody that could work there. So that was one of the parameters we had to work within. And the other part was wanted to see if there was just a way we could integrate it into what already existed and not create something new. So we have the Experience Merrill page already up on the website, and it's got the really nice story about Merrill. It's got some nice videos about what's going on. We've got some of the other videos coming out. So the thought was to place, when people would click on an ad, they would now go to the Experience Merrill page directly to that. And then down at the bottom, you'll see the three icons that have to do with education, jobs, and housing. And for those three areas, if someone were to click on the education one, there currently is a education and a school listing on the Merrill website. So we would just take them within the Merrill website. We don't need to develop anything new for that or go off of our own site for that. The jobs one was a little bit more difficult. So what I did is I just did a regular old Google search for jobs in Merrill, Wisconsin, and the results came back with over 100 job listings. So then I researched how did those job listings get located, and basically if an employer has it listed on their website or at another website that mentions Merrill Web, Google goes through and scrapes that information and then puts that information out there. So if employers are putting it on their website, at the minimum, it'll be scraped and it'll be found by Google and be listed there. And I also had it tested several ways that, okay, I took the link, clicked on it, saw it was there, went back, clicked that link again 2 days later to make sure that I didn't get the same page. It refreshes every time you do it. So as the jobs come up, it'll go there. So that's a positive. We wouldn't have to do anything other than drive them to the Google search. The negative on that is if the employers are not putting stuff up there or have it out there properly, they might not get shown. Second is the filters on it are shaky. You can't do it by category. They can't do it by professional. You can't do it by this or that. They're very limited. But there was over 100 and some jobs listed when I did that. And so I think to get us started and at least have something out there, I mean, we had everywhere from Aspirus to not Wendy's, Chips. on that site. So it had the full gamut of professional to service worker on there. So I think that's a good solution for us, and it's something we don't have to maintain. And then the last one is the housing. I did a Google search for realtor agents and companies. And what that did is it took it to all the realtor companies that were in the Merrill area rather than the realtors. So once again, we don't have to maintain it. So if Jim's a realtor for Remax and then Jim decides he doesn't want to be and somebody else is, we're not going to be responsible for that. If we just list the realtors that are listed as representing Merrill, there was one from Wausau that does a lot of Merrill sales. That person showed up as well. I mean, that realtor showed up as well. But once again, we don't have to maintain it. Google goes and finds it and displays it for them, and then people can go search for it. It shows up with Zillow, it shows up with Remax, it shows up with all of them. If you take a look at page 2, it's kind of a picture down at the bottom that shows you what each one will take you to and what it'll look like to the user if they click on those icons. And then LaDonna also asked if we could also put the same links on another page within the current website, so we can put it wherever we want. What, typo? My proofer hasn't proofed it yet. So that's my recommendation. It's very little work for us. It's an easy web fix or addition, and we can get that done probably within a week.
You know, I see the other side of this. I think the employers can still update everything, and it updates automatically. I think this is a great opportunity, though, for maybe somebody on staff to actually contact our business owners and say, hey, how can we help you? This website is up to date. I think that might be a good thing. This might be an opportunity to give us a reason to contact the employers and say, hey, how are you looking for?
Well, yeah, we can just tell them basically, make sure your website's updated with the jobs, because Google will find you if you're there.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there also is Google Jobs that they can also post on, which will increase their visibility. But at a minimum, if they have it listed on their website, Google's going to find it.
And I think the chamber can kind of help spread that information to the chamber members too, to say, you know.
I think
here-
automatic is nice, but a
Yeah.
personal touch is better.
Yeah, we just, the thing we're really trying to avoid is the city become a job site. Because then we have somebody have to manage it and things like that. So I think you're absolutely right that if we can get a message out to the community, the business community, saying, this is on our site, this is how it works, this is how you can be sure to be found, and then they can take
And more
it
than
from there.
once. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I agree, this is great. I mean, it's absolutely perfect. It's hands-free, we don't have to do anything, but I think we as a city could do more.
Yep.
Reaching out and talking to people. So I think this is a great opportunity for that. What do you need? How can we help? You need jobs? All right, let's make sure we get it updated. Just a thought, that would be something in Mr. Akey's category to make that happen, but I think it's a great, I think it's a good idea. Touch base with everybody.
Dustin, do you see any issues with adding this landing page at all from IT perspective or website page?
No, I think because the Experience Merrill page that he proposed here is already on our website.
Yep.
It looks like the only difference is those 3 bubbles at the bottom.
Correct.
And the school system page we already have, so that one's a pretty easy link, like you mentioned. And the other ones are Google driven, so we're not necessarily doing any work except for getting those bubbles down there and get them linked properly.
How would we get to our current homepage?
What's that?
How do you get to our current home? So people who
From
want.
here,
Yeah,
you just go up and click your Merrill logo,
okay.
Or hit the home button.
or hit the home button.
It's
So,
our full website.
What's a landing page then? I thought this would be our new homepage. Is that not correct?
Okay, landing page is where is basically a page where you want a visitor to go land.
Mhm.
A home page is your introduction page to everything, and that's usually a homepage landing page, which we have with the nice pictures and the different icons. What we don't want to have people do, we want to make it as easy as possible for people to get to these links. So the ads will drive them to this page, And then they'll see these icons, click on that icon in there. So it's a two-step process versus a hunt and peck, as LaDonna was talking about.
Got
It's a
it.
lot easier process for the user.
Got it.
Yep.
I think my fear would be that, like, we want to make sure that our meeting's in front and center, and we're not hiding any information like that, so I just want to make sure that it's easy to still get to, like, if someone
Oh, yeah.
wants
Mhm.
information about the city, they can.
All the same banner
All the
stuff.
garbage or whatever.
All the stuff at the
information's about.
top you see are your
Yeah.
links, those will all still be there.
Perfect.
Yep.
Thank you.
And I think, Emily, organically, when people go directly to our website, they're going to go to that page you're thinking of. This is going to be something that they land on when they
From the link.
interact from.
Yeah.
And
the
these
document.
ads don't get shown necessarily to locals. They're going to be advertised out in like Chicago and Iowa, and they probably don't want to go to the meeting unless the meeting page
Yeah.
kind of thing right away. So.
And what we'll do too is we'll update the ads that we're putting in the visitor guide with a URL that drives people to this same page as well. And then that way, that's where they're going.
Perfect, thanks.
Okay, so I guess that probably would, does anyone have any other thoughts about that? Do we want to go ahead and make a motion to add that landing page, or do we want to,
Rod, you think it's a good idea? You like it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Doesn't cost us anything.
Oh, no, you got my fee.
Anything free is worth saving up for.
Okay, there you go.
I'll make a motion to add the landing page to the city.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to add the landing page the way Scott has it kind of laid out, so without any further discussion on that? Okay, hearing none, then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and that motion carries, and we will go ahead and get those put into place. Let's see. Grant application updates. Hallie, what you got for us on those?
So I met with Teresa from the chamber at the end of July, and while she said I had a great start on the GEM grant, I could not turn it in and expect any money. So we are going to revamp the GEM grant to make it more professional, a little bit more fluffy.
And just to clarify too, Teresa has written a lot of these
Yes.
grants, so that is why she gave some input and helped.
Yes. So we're just gonna not redo, but revamp the application that I was going to send in to make sure it's the most effective that we can be and make sure we get that money. So the new deadline is November 1st. And that still gives us enough time to be able to start and spend the money before the Food Truckapalooza.
Is that something we can take a look at before you send it in? Or
Yeah,
can you
I can do
email it
that.
or text it or something?
Okay.
If the deadline is November 1st, when do they notify whether or not you receive it?
That I am not sure. It is one of those things where you get the money afterwards. So it's not something that we're gonna see right away, but it'll give me an idea of how much I can spend, knowing that we're gonna get that money back.
Is it a matching fund or is it a fund?
I believe it's, off the top of my head, I can't remember. I know they'll match like 75% my first year, I think that's what it said.
Okay.
And then next year it'd be 50% match of what I'm spending for advertising.
Okay. All right, well, keep us updated on it.
I will.
And then the tourism grant.
I did get the money from the tourism grant for the 2024 Food Truckapalooza for $1,000. And then I got the application from Cheryl at the chamber today for the 2025 one, which the deadline is September 20th. So I will get that in by then. That one is pretty straightforward. I filled it out last year with no issues. The only thing we have to decide is how much I would like to ask for. So I don't know if we should stay with 1,000. I don't know if we should go up or down.
Do they, if you ask for more, do they just say no, or do they say yes, but not that much?
Yes, they will maybe give you that much, but otherwise they'll just give you less.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Is there a parameter from 100 to 10,000 or something?
Not really. I know they gave, I think.
Million sounds good.
You should be realistic with what we had as sponsors this year and kind of what you're going to be doing next year as far as maybe not bags or something else.
Right.
Kind of extrapolate the cost and look to see what we had for both what we have in the bank or in the account, and then also what we had for sponsors, and kind of see what we need to
Right.
fill a gap.
I can get that to you right before the next meeting.
Sounds good. All right, and then community night out. Any updates on that? We're just hitting Hallie up left and right.
Let me make my note.
That is on August 20th,
20th, next Tuesday.
next Tuesday.
I have the forms, the papers filled out. I ordered the plexiglass stands for the Facebook, or join us on Facebook. Check out our website. If you have any ideas for the Food Truckapalooza, drop them below in a little bowl. And then we're going to have candy. I think we're set.
Okay.
And my computer there to show the videos that we're doing.
Is your mic on?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe I'm just deaf.
All right, any other discussion on that? Okay, then the next one we will go on to is the Midwest Communications contract extensions. And these are the extensions of our current contracts to get us through the end of the year so that we can budget for next year's through the regular budgeting process. So that's what these are. I believe we approved these at the last meeting already, so this is just
Mhm.
to let you know where these extensions landed up. And between the two contracts, we are looking at $9,768 to continue those two contracts through December 31st of this year. So they're in there just for your information as far as that goes. Then I guess, I'm not sure if it's better to do the preliminary budget, or let's talk about the Midwest contract first and then go to the rest of the preliminary budget. That might make more sense to do it that way. So Cami, if you want to highlight the proposal that Midwest Communication is bringing forward to us for basically renewing this contract in some way, shape, or form.
Correct. First of all, I do want to state that Midwest Communications, because of the fact we have 82 radio stations, and so we have many different locations. We did a 20% increase overall, but I had you guys waived for all of next year. So, yeah, I had to do a little bit of, but I got it done. So we are not doing an increase for you guys. We are going to hold the rates. One thing that is changing is typically you guys were doing what we call OTT, which was non-traditional cable. Well, we're changing that a little bit to something a little bit more affordable for you, which is ZTV. It's exactly the same product, except for the fact that we're not using keywords. We weren't using really keywords with that product anyways. So if anything, I'm saving you guys per 1,000 impressions, $3. It doesn't sound a lot, but it adds up. I'm looking at the best interest of your budget. And so that is why it says ZTV and not OTT, is because of the fact that I found it a little bit more cost efficient for you guys, and you're going to get the same thing. I didn't change anything with the budget. Now, is there anybody, because we do have some newcomers, that are unaware of what the products we provide, what they do, and what their purpose is?
If you want to just give a real high level, that would
Okay.
be.
Yeah, because I want to make sure everybody's on the same page. So basically, radio advertising is targeting everybody that's listening, and they may be in the category of getting a new washer, a new car, a new TV. They're all in the same category. They're all listening, and we're targeting, and we're throwing ads at everyone. Now, the funnel goes down for buying, and we, for digital, is right at the very bottom. So we are targeting people that are in the areas that, we have chosen, that maybe people don't want to live there anymore. Maybe it's high crime. Maybe it's bad schools. Maybe they just don't want to pay the taxes that they are anymore. And so there's numerous reasons why we're targeting the people that we are. But we're targeting them because of the fact that they're in the age demographic, they're doing the words that, and they're doing the activities that make them look like they are not comfortable and happy where they're currently living or occupied, you know. So that is why we do the digital targeting. We do a little bit of radio advertising on WIFC and WDEZ Polka Show, and we do those because of the fact that we want to mention what Merrill has going on. We want to spread the rumors of how great Merrill is. Instead of somebody saying, oh, Merrill doesn't do anything, no, we're going to brag about it and we're going to boast about it. So that's what the radio advertising is. So, we're going to skip to basically what is geofencing. Okay, so we're not geofencing businesses, except we are doing a few businesses that are going under. Throughout the course of the last 6 months, you guys, numerous people in this room, have kept me up to date on bigger factories or industries that are closing. We do individually target those buildings that are closing that will have unplaced workers. Unplaced workers need new jobs, people will move. Then we also...
Can I just interrupt here?
Yeah.
Just make sure you understand. What we're doing is when we hear about an unfortunate mass layoff in some of the communities, either here in Wisconsin or Illinois or Minneapolis or even Iowa, or some of these areas, what we're doing is we're actually going in and targeting those communities, because those people are going to be looking for jobs, and those communities are small, and the chances of them being able to walk across the street and get another job are slim. So we want them to become aware of the great things and the great jobs that we have here. So we just found out John Deere, as you know, is laying off in a couple areas, and Cameo's team is now targeting those areas with our ads about jobs. Trying to get, so we raise our awareness in those areas, so that if someone says, look, those areas are small town already, so it's the kind of person, and so it fit our demographics really well. So this is something we're doing. Sarah does a real good job of sending me notices of what's going on, and then I pass it on. So, yep.
Does anybody have any questions on that? Okay. So then there's a satellite in the sky, and we do an invincible fence around either zip codes, townships, it's whatever. We can get it narrowed down to technically an aisle in Walmart. We actually have a liquor company that only targets liquor areas in grocery stores. And so it is really, it's crazy on how narrow we can get these invisible fences. We are only off on average 4 feet. So that's pretty close. So that is what geofencing is. Yes. And so we get these people, and how we get them is everybody is normally within 11 feet of their phone. So their phone pings in that area that we're targeting, and now we can serve them ads. And so anywhere there's a screen, we can serve City of Merrill ads. Right now we're currently serving for housing, school, and jobs. And currently, jobs is the #1 activity right now. Housing is second, school is third. So that is how we target people geofencing. And then it doesn't matter where they are on the internet, we're going wherever they are, and that's where the ads are being served. So if they're playing Candy Crush, they're on Candy Crush. If they're looking up their local newspaper, most of the time we can get ad space right there. So we're all over the place. Anybody have any questions on that?
I would just add to that, Cameo, that we've tried to not retarget people who live here in Merrill.
Oh, absolutely. We are not targeting anybody that lives in the Merrill area. There was a time that we were serving just a little bit of oppressions to people in Merrill because of the fact they were going to the City of Merrill site, but we are able to now have it where if they go into the City of Merrill site and they're in the City of Merrill, we won't serve them ads. So nobody should be getting technically really any ads unless you have somebody that was getting served ads, they come here, well, they're going to still, because of the fact they're in our system, but then they're going to show up as 54452. So there is some little things that will show up. But then we are also using the YouTube. So YouTube is basically, it's not just, oh, if they go to the City of Merrill YouTube. It's if they're going on YouTube, looking up fishing, hunting. Oh, well, you like fishing and hunting. Well, why not do it year-round and live here? We have the capability of ice fishing and, trout fishing, whatever fishing you like. Come here and you can do it all the time. So that's basically how the YouTube advertising is going. Do you guys have any input or questions on that? No? Okay. You guys have all seen it, right? You've gone to YouTube.
I just didn't know how it worked. This is
Yeah.
kinda fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, all privacy is gone.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking actually right
Yeah,
now.
all privacy is gone. So then we do the YouTube, and then the ZTV, which was the OTT, exactly the same. So people that are not getting traditional cable, they're doing the Roku or the Hulu or whatever, we're serving them TV ads. And it doesn't matter what they're watching as long as they're in the areas that we want to target. There was someone from that lived in Merrill, moved to the Twin Cities, and they were seeing our ads on ABC and the morning show. Well, that's because of the fact they live in the area that we're targeting. So, yeah. And with the TV commercials, because of the fact that they're 15 seconds, they are non-skippable. The only time somebody does not see the full 15-second ad is if they click off the TV. And then that doesn't get counted towards your impressions. So if somebody turns off the TV, doesn't see your full ad, you're not paying for it. Then we just...
Some of the services you can pay extra to skip, can't you?
I don't think that Roku and Hulu and okay, so you can't buy certain services.
Yeah.
Like you can't buy Disney. You
Paramount
can,
or one of those,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, there's certain services that you cannot purchase advertising for. But
And we don't want to.
True.
and also with all of our websites and television, it's all clean. It's white base, as we put it. If you know where I'm going to, it's not.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So basically, and then with the production, we have these gentlemen that are helping us with the TV production. As far as the radio, I've been working with Haley, and we've been doing new ads. I think they sound great. If anybody needs some examples, I'm more than welcome to email them to you guys and send you guys some, but they're updated. We have a first batch the first week, and then a second batch the second week. So we're never talking about anything outdated. We just got done talking about the fair. We talked about the night out that we're going to be having. And so once again, that's on WIFC and WDEZ Polka Show. We have the reporting. Anytime you guys have any questions with reporting, I know that Connor did just a basic 1, 2, 3 for this month. And it looks like I'm on the agenda later, so I don't know if you guys want me to do that again later coming up?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. So then we have the reporting. And then the YS, back to Connor. Connor couldn't be here. He had a family obligation that he needed to be at. But Connor and I are both born and raised and live in Merrill. And so we're vested into this community. We know this area. We know what this community is looking for. We know what the growth is that we need. We know what's going on in the community. We are very involved. Midwest Communications, our headquarters is located in Wausau. We're members of the chamber. We're very active in the community. So you're buying from somebody that is part of the community. Then basically the next page is what the products are. The YouTube, the ZTV, and what we call we don't call it the Merrill Mayor Minute, we actually call it the Merrill Minute. So, because we initially had talked about Steve coming in and recording, but Steve's just too busy. So, if you guys have any questions, I know that there's some concern about budget, And so, I mean, obviously, I would prefer you guys not take away. But I talked to Connor, and he says if you guys were to do anything that would be of question to change, would be the ZTV is not very easy to get reporting on because of the fact that they can't click. They're watching on their television. So the thing is that our actual average rate right now for display is 12%, but it goes down to 0.9% because of the fact that you can't click on your TV. So we're just getting less for reporting. It's not that it's a worse product. It's just if you guys are concerned about more about reporting, we can't get that much for reporting with that. We can just prove that it was actually watched.
Cameo, I have one question, one comment. First of all, the media plan recommendation that came out in your packet, just to note the total annual budget for the ZTV, it says 10,000 annual. That should have been 12,000, but the annual total, the 44,208, was correct. So just a note on that. But how many listeners are with the radio? I mean, how much are we getting with those radio? I mean, I'm going to be honest, I don't listen to either station, so I've never heard them
Yeah,
other
neither.
than
I've
what
never
you
heard them.
forward to us, so.
Well, we cover 17 counties, and I could get you a breakdown, but it is thousands and thousands and thousands of listeners at any given moment. So, I mean, we are rated market, and so if you guys want ratings on that, sure. I'll send you some for JMT too, if you like.
Just a couple comments. You know, when we started this campaign, we knew it was going to be long. We knew that there was not going to be overnight because we didn't have the budget to put, like some of these communities are putting hundreds of thousands of dollars a year into their marketing of their communities. But we are putting a good amount in there, and I understand the challenges the city faces with their budget. But I will say that Midwest Communications has done a really good job of squeezing every service they can out of the dollars we're giving them, and so I want to say thank you for that.
Thank you.
But as we move forward here, we have to remember this is a long-term play. This is not something that we're going to turn overnight, but we are starting to see the turn. We're hearing stories where people are interested. We're getting more visitors. The housing in the area is filling up. So there are positive things that are occurring in the city, and by this being part of that overall package, promoting Merrill, I think that, you know, we've just done a good job, and I would, as a citizen, love to see it continue to be funded.
I will comment that as I drove to Davis County Market today, I noticed the bulletin, or the billboard right by the fire station was advertising for Marshfield, some festivity going on in Marshfield, and I thought, okay, they're over here advertising for us to go there. So other cities are advertising, they're marketing. I don't know what the cost of a billboard is, but I'm sure from conversations we've had in the past, it's not any cheaper than any other method either. So, you know, the people that see a billboard versus all of this is, you know, I think this is obviously a more effective way of hitting it. But yeah, it's going to be a decision that's going to have to be made at, you know, how far out and how long can we make this go, or what to do about it. So.
Well, I guess the comment I have, if we keep spending at the level we are, the decision will be made in about a year and a half.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because we'll be, either we pay for that, or we pay for that, or, you know what I'm saying? So it's, we gotta make decisions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it will help us to know a little bit more as far as, you know, paying for the maps piece of it, the history of that, and what goes with that, or, you know, I think to be able to pull those two pieces together for the council to actually be able to look at the two pieces and say which one, or do we, you know. I
So
think
do-
that's a piece that needs to be discussed.
So do we know what we all get for the amount that is through maps? Is it just the recording? Is other stuff included in that?
There's a lot of other stuff included that. We get a quarterly bill, and it is supplies, it's student time, there is some staff time, not student time, so student time is not included. And there is an agreement in place that doesn't explicitly spell out exactly what's covered, but I have followed up with them asking for more information.
So student time, is that?
Not
I guess
included,
I haven't
sorry.
seen a student, so what would be an example of that?
Well, and Nathan, maybe you can speak to this better than I can. I just get the paperwork.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just new to this, so I have lots of questions.
So when we talk about student time, we actually do have traditionally and historically in the past paid students to come and film like I do. I was one of those students and just happened to, do it so well that I was offered a job. And a lot of these students are paid that do help us and come. A lot of them, though, we've asked to dedicate more time towards maps through that collaborative effort that the city and the school district have, because let's face it, they don't care about city politics. They just don't.
So what would be an example with something with maps, I guess?
Trying to think, they've filmed, we've filmed sports games in the past. We do theirs, regular Board of Education meetings, their big one, assemblies, concerts.
So I guess what I'd like to see for a breakdown is, are we paying for that as part of this?
You're not paying a whole lot right now, I can guarantee you that. Overall, if I had to take a stab at the dark at how many hours students have worked this year, you're probably looking at close to 30 total
Okay.
overall. So a lot of the money that you're looking at is going towards myself, Draco Fink, equipment, supplies.
And this is a really
and-
stupid question, and what are those? Are those cameras, or do we have a camera in here?
Those are older cameras that don't function very well, if I want to put it bluntly. All of our stuff's going through the camera equipment that I have right now. So if you go on to Lori's feed that she sees, it's going through the same feed that I have. So
Okay, and why can't we just record it like the county does, where there are just cameras and you hit record and it works? I'm not saying that this doesn't work, I'm just curious.
We just have to upgrade it. That would be an expense.
Yeah.
And we have upgraded our sound system. So it's a matter of.
Not that I'm saying we should do that, I was just wondering.
part of it is too, and I know I've talked with Tom Hayden about this, and I've talked with other cities about the VSP, the state aid, and the franchise fee. If the Merrill Productions basically doesn't exist, and even with it existing, I know Tom Hayden has told me multiple times they're not sure that they have to pay us at this point in time.
What's the channel number?
986 on Charter. Right now it is dark due to some issues on Spectrum side, but Spectrum is aware of those and are trying to actually work with us at this point in time to get it back up. But
So you're saying
it's
maybe we would lose the money if we recorded it just by cameras versus a person?
correct.
Okay.
Because it's all coming from a state deal, from what my understanding of the whole deal is, so.
Okay, well, without belaboring it any longer,
Thank
it's a lot of decisions to be made, and okay, Rod, I can see you have a summary you want to throw out there.
It's something that the council is going to have to decide in the next 4 to 5 years, and maybe how important is marketing and communication if we would lose these funds. Not saying that the same amount would be dedicated, but we do have TID 3 closing where we will have some money. We're probably going to need that for operations in other areas of the city, but maybe that's the time to kind of expand the revenue sources for this committee or this effort. I know it's one of the things in our strategic plan where we talk about marketing. We talk about jobs, we talk about housing, and how do you get that message out there? So I think you can't just have one, you gotta have all of them to do the proper strategic plan, and it's not just marketing. So it's something that the council's gonna have to say, how important is this to the city? And all those pieces have to be put together. Because if we do lose the cable franchise funding, then it's kind of, it would be a tax levy effort.
Mhm. Well, I guess what I would say is, I think we can take what is being presented to us here, we can put it into our piece of the budget with the full understanding that it is totally up for grabs as to how much of this we can say we're going to renew, depending on the other pieces that we don't have the full understanding of right now, I guess would be my thoughts on it. I don't know.
There's some costs that are, correct me if I'm wrong, Dustin, but like every 3 years, we have certain costs that have shown up, so some of the things that we had budgeted for in the last couple of years may not be, count against the budget until that third or fourth year, am I right? As far as certain subscriptions and other things, so something we have to watch year to year, and even what Emily had talked about as far as actual cable franchise fees going down, we'll have to watch that too and kind of adjust as we see fit, and if it's truly important to the city, we'll have to find some money to fund it.
Okay. Well, I guess my recommendation right now is let's look at the proposed budget with this piece of contract to it as a totality, and then we can, as a committee, decide to submit this to the council, saying this is what we would like to see, but we recognize we have to fit within the scope of the other things that have to take place, and if we need to cut something, if we decide we want to cut the ZTV out of here or whatever, we can make those cuts at that time from, with the marketing's recommendation behind that. I don't know, does anybody have any other thoughts on it, or?
I just want to make sure I understood the situation. So I'm going to repeat it and you tell me what I got wrong. So the way I'm seeing the options is either option A would be we spend where we're at now, and with the possibility and most likely reality that in a year and a half we're out of money. That's option one.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, do we just say, what, we're going to go for it, we're going to give it everything we got for the next year and a half and then see what happens? And then if there's no funding, then no funding. The other thing I heard then would be option B, was that we take what we have and we try to stretch it. And so so we're working with a pot right now, is the way I'm looking at it. So we can either say we're just going to spend it this next year and a half, do the best we can and see what happens. Second part would be we have that pot, we want to try to stretch that, so we're going to reduce some. Prioritize and stretch it maybe to 2 to 3 years with that same pot of money.
And hoping that funding levels don't go down.
And adjust accordingly.
Yep.
And then the third option is that we don't get approved or whatever, and so we basically are coming to a close.
And at that point, we have to go to the tax levy or the council and say how important is
Okay.
marketing communications to the city, and we have to, again, backtrack and go through all of what this committee does, what the marketing communication does, and they have to put a value to it.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Okay, so do we want to go on and look at the rest of the budgeted items and then come back to deciding what we forward to council for now, or?
Sounds like we did that.
Well, we're looking at the contract itself, but there's the other pieces that were built into the budget, and
Well, all those pieces are also would be included in those same three options, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
too much paper here. The pieces that were just the marketing pieces, that M&C committee resources on down with the contracts and the monthly ads. And I just threw together what I kind of had an understanding of. Emily has a little bit different understanding of it, but I think overall we're very close to each other in the proposed and the projected and the 2024 numbers. So basically what we had in our budget last year from just the marketing position itself, or the marketing committee, was $110,800. That was the budget numbers that we had approved, that the council had approved for us. And this 2025 proposed that I had on this little sheet that I put in the packet basically is dropping that down to 84,308.
184. 184?
So LaDonna is
No,
looking at
84.
the last
Yeah, she's looking at some of these.
6 items, the last
Okay.
6 expense items.
Yeah, I'm
That's
looking at
all
just the
sheets.
the ones that we have any direct influence over as a marketing committee. Those were the ones that I looked at, and that doesn't take into consideration those other pieces that we need to look at. So I guess what I'm saying is we can propose our pieces to the council, say, here's what we would like to ideally propose. We want to, keep the contract the same, whatever we want to do. We want to decrease contract, whatever. But this is what we want to bring to council, recognizing that there are other pieces outside of our control that are going to influence what's actually approved. Does that make sense? It's a lot of silence.
I'm looking at two different reports here, I'm sorry. There's one online, and then there's the one here that you handed out, but.
Yep, so LaDonna's, the one that's in the packet, that is just looking at the marketing expenses, the marketing contract. And then I took it and plugged that into the whole fund so that we're looking big picture at all of the other expenses that are coming out, and that was the handout that I gave.
So yeah, if you look at the one that Emily handed out today, the last several lines on there are the same lines that are in the one that's in
Oh, I
your
see.
meeting
Okay.
packet. As far as proposed, and I think she used basically the same proposed numbers for 2025 as what I had submitted to the committee as a proposal. So I guess what it comes down to is for the committee to look at the 2025 proposed numbers, recognizing that reflects the totality of the Midwest Communications contract. It reflects Hallie's position, the contractor, the social media contractor position, and the visitor guide ads, and then just the 4,600 is miscellaneous marketing things that we've have done or spent in the past. So that was that's a reduction in what we had originally used. 2024 was 110,800. 2025 we're proposing 84,000. So that's a reduction on marketing side of 26,000. Now we can go to the council and say this is what we would like to propose. If we have to cut something out of our Midwest Communications further based on the council's overall decision, including all these other factors, then we can say we're willing to cut X, Y, or Z.
So the MMC targeted display ads, what is that again?
I believe those are the Midwest Communications digital retargeting that I was telling you about,
Okay,
on how we serving ads to people.
okay.
And I will say, we don't have the MAPS Productions budget yet, but I put 2% increase from last year, just costs always go up, so I put 2% on there as a placeholder, just so we have some idea of what we're talking about.
So you asking for a a motion to approve the recommended 2025 budget of 84,308. Is that what you're asking for?
That would be what I would be asking for at this time. Or unless you want to go ahead and reduce the Midwest contract initially, or we want to say this is we recognize that this may have to be reduced because of other choices made by the council. So we can propose the 84,000, yes, if you want to do it that way, with the
Okay.
recognition
I'll make that motion
it's-
that we approve, that we forward to council, recommend approval of the 84,308 budget for 2025.
with the recognition that the Midwest Communications contract may be modified if necessary?
Correct.
Okay. Lori, did you catch that motion? We finally got to one.
We were looking at the Excella and the Civic Plus. We don't have Excella anymore. We switched over to Civic Plus. And so we didn't know that extra $10,500 projected or proposed for 2025. If we don't have Excella, why would it be proposed?
That's not in the marketing piece, though.
Right.
That's
in
in
the,
Oh, that's up higher.
the meeting technology
Okay,
piece.
sorry, I missed the motion.
Okay, I think Bob made the motion to. You wanna-
Forward, as proposed, to general council to approve 84,308 for the 2025 budget with a review of.
Hold on, I don't do short what?
Forward to council recommending approval of the 84,308, $84,308 with a review of Midwest Communications package, contract.
Proposal, yeah.
Proposal.
If necessary.
By the council of the whole, or, there you go.
I will second that, now that we have it in the form of a motion.
Brad?
Any discussion?
No, I think that's probably the way to go. I'm not, I think you've heard me say before on some of these other funds, let's either do it or.
Yep.
Or don't? That's a good motto. Okay. All right. The motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Motion carried. Phew, that was the longest, hardest part of this whole thing. Okay, now I lost my agenda totally. Here we go. I think we are down to, okay, let's see. Chamber update. Anything quick, Sarah? You
Yeah,
wanna
I'll make
throw
it quick. We did visit the state fair. We had one day where we were with Travel Wisconsin. We got rid of about 800 guides, and we were there all day on the Sunday, the 4th of August. And then we just wanted to mention, we work with Close Publications. They are a chamber member of ours as well. It's got like Fun in Wisconsin and special events, things like that. They're putting out a publication for the draft coming up next year, and we reserved 2 pages in it. So we will be looking to get some advertisers in their hotels, restaurants, anything like that, and then forming kind of a small committee to discuss, opportunities that Merrill can have to market to those individuals, knowing that Green Bay, Appleton, that area is basically booked already for hotels. Chamber Month is next month, so we are going to be having some fun activities, the Loyal to Local, and those types of things for chamber members and obviously the community in general, because we just want to promote Merrill. And then I just wanted to say a couple things. We are working with mainly, obviously, Lincoln County, but then we're also working with Tomahawk Chamber to promote the 150th celebration for Lincoln County. So we do have a festival date planned for October 19th. It's a Saturday. It will begin in Tomahawk with about like a pancake breakfast something like that. And then we will come to Merrill and have an All Things Old parade. And then we will conclude at the fairgrounds where we'll have a carnival, hopefully a craft show. We will allow access for the vendors there. If they want to open, they can. Otherwise, we'll have food trucks. But just planning some fun events to celebrate 150 years for Lincoln County. So that's kind of what we've got in a nutshell. Any questions on any of that?
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, monthly reports. We will try and keep these short too. Hallie, anything you want to highlight out of your reports that?
Nope, if you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Okay. All right, hearing none, Midwest Communications, I know these reports, Rebecca, they're a little overwhelming to look at when you get them in the packet, and you can't read them on paper, so just a real short highlight, if you would, Cameo.
All right, this is the down and dirty. In July, we served 107,719 ads. Click-throughs, and what that is whenever somebody sees the ad directly, they click right then and there. And we had 99 of those, and that's 0.09% click-through. The average rate is 0.05. If you take out, once again, with the OTT, it's a great product, but we can't get the clicks. So if you take out the ads that were served with OTT and display only, our average is 0.12%. And then we had people that were served the ad, went on their merry way, and then actually physically went and looked you guys up and went to your site, and that was 163. So that's really showing activity. Because for me to look at something and be like, I want to look at that later, that must be some really darn looking books. So that was a good one. And then we also had, geofence the roundabout area. We don't target all of Merrill because I don't care if somebody goes to the gas station or Quick Trip. I care if they went right into the heart of Merrill. And so the people that got served the ads, 9 people went right into the roundabout. So they were in the heart of Merrill, 9 people that were served the ads. And again, jobs is the number one activity, then housing, and then schools. Does anybody have any questions?
Nope, I think that's a good summary, so hopefully you can keep providing that as the overview for the rest of the stuff that Scott only understands.
Yeah, and then he'll come to me if he has questions, so.
Do you know where the 9 people came from?
Actually,
roundabout.
Connor can probably pull that.
I was just
Yeah, I
curious.
usually have my sidekick, Connor, but he's, like I said, he's on family
That's really neat
obligations.
that you can do all that.
Yeah, so we can say where they kind of came from,
It's very
so.
creepy. Especially when we put the geofencing around the.
Yeah, he's my tech guy. I'm the sales girl.
Okay.
I do have one question.
Okay.
We're paying per click? Is that how this
No,
works?
you're
It's
paying
just
per
a flat
impression.
contract, 14
You're
14 for a
paying,
month?
you're paying for so many impressions. So you're paying for 107,719 ads.
Okay.
And so it's not pay per click because of the fact if you were paying for per click, which I'm sure that Scott can justify, then you have businesses that will charge you and they'll just have somebody going click, 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 and it's kind of a scam. So we pay per impression, not click.
Okay.
Was I pretty dead on with that?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
easy to scam.
Mm-hmm, yeah, so.
Okay, well, I will entertain a motion to put the reports on file.
I'll second that. Oh, I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Public comment? Anyone left with a public comment? All right. Then if no public comment, our next meeting will be September 19th at 5:15, and I thank everybody for your patience for getting through this. Motion to adjourn, anyone?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you.